Hello everyone, and welcome to Horrific Reviews. Hopefully we're online and everything's working. The idea of this segment is basically talk about movies, books that don't necessarily come under our other segments. If you're new to the podcast, obviously we review everything horror. We look at books, games, new releases, classics, you name it. So for this one, this will be a mixture as well. We do live stream, we do pre-recorded videos, releases, and all that good stuff. So first time here, more than welcome. Do us a wee favour, just make sure you like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with all of our stuff, and welcome aboard. So basically off the back, we did a review of the black telephone, or the black phone, a couple of weeks ago. This is the first of me coming across Scott Derrickson and seeing Ethan Hawke, so I thought, look back, see what he'd done. I'd seen the posters, you know, when you see a lot of horror movies, especially next to Netflix and stuff. You kind of glance over and it all seems a bit samey, so kind of missed this when it first came out. And because I enjoyed Black Phone so much, I thought I'd check him out. So that's also directed by Scott Derrickson and stars Ethan Hawke. Funny enough, as he stars in this latest movie, which I really enjoyed. Essentially, the story is you've got a true crime writer, Alison Oswald, moves into a house, takes his family, moves into a house. Turns out it's a place where a murder took place. We see that actually at the very beginning, almost like found footage. I think that's what put me off, because whenever they first talked about it, it was found footage, and I hate those movies. I really don't like found footage ones. I don't know, there's just something about them. I think the way they get on when you've got a camera, and this whole thing of you run about with a camera and you're almost acting for it, it doesn't work. I don't think the two things gel together very well. Now, that's just my opinion. Like, I never enjoyed the Blair Witch Project, even the idea of it. I don't know, it puts me as an outsider, so to speak, but hey ho, you like what you like, you don't. We'll agree or disagree, that's the way of the world. That's why there's so many different movies out there, because not everybody likes the same thing. For example, if we did, there would be like 3 movies and we'd all watch it and we'd all like them, and that'd be it. No, that's the end of entertainment. Whole idea of especially the horror genre being so wide reaching is it reaches different people for different things. One thing I will say, I'm glad I didn't see these before the Black Phone, because I think it would have put me off. Well, you've got this Oswald character. He's a true crime writer. He had one major success with a book, and it basically made him infamous, and he got a bit of a reputation. So we see him arriving at the property, and even the local sheriff's giving him the evil eyes and stuff, and you know why you're here and you're disgusting and all that kind of stuff. It takes me a minute to get on board, but bottom line is, he had this one success. He's had books since, they weren't as bad, but he's like chasing the dragon of fame, so to speak. You know, he wants to be a superstar as opposed to a creator, and that's kind of the trap you fall into if you do that sort of thing. If you're chasing the likes and shares and all that kind of stuff, you can kind of lose yourself, because the fame becomes more important than actually what you're creating. Yes, it can be frustrating, and trust me, this is a small channel, so know all about it. You like to see your work recognised, you like to know that at least if you're creating something and putting it out there, people appreciate it. The thing is, I never said he wasn't successful. You know what I mean? His books weren't as successful as this big hit he had, but does not happen to a lot of artists. You know, they get known for like music, they get known for one song, one book, one movie. That becomes their kind of catch-all, what they're known for, and they do other things, and they never hit that same level of success. But it doesn't mean they're not successful. They make money, the movies make money, the books make money, etc., etc. But there seems to be this notion of everything must be a hit, everything must be number one. Now, business competitive, I can understand. Businesses all want to be number one, you know, and this kind of culture, you see this kind of corporate culture which is destroying everything right now, because they must be the only thing, and making good product that's successful kind of goes by the wayside. So this is what we kind of get from this character. You know, he's unless he's getting the adulation of crowds or anything else, he's not satisfied. And you even get people having a dig at him throughout the movie of, oh, your second-rate books on blah 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 bookshelves. Well, he's a writer. He's getting books on bookshelves. People are buying them. People know him. So, what the hell, There's just scene where he's doing a signing in a small town. There's only a handful of people. Well, what do you expect? If you go to a village or a small town, you're not going to have hundreds of thousands of people there. So it's kind of playing on that sort of thing of faming it. Now, I don't know if the director means it that way or just trying to build the character up, that he feels as if he's failed, but it becomes an obsession where they write the next book and he has to be in the place where it happened. So this is where a family was hung, and he's going to look like what he expects to achieve there. I don't know, because if it was investigated by police, house would have been cleaned out. Before selling it, there would have been forensic cleaners. That's something. If you're into true crime, look up forensic cleaners and some of the stories they have. Pretty gruesome. Basically, they're a professional cleaning company that goes in after crime scenes, and essentially sanitizes the place for someone else to be able to move in or use it again. And they have the least glamorous job in the whole lot. And to be honest, in some of their stories, they have. God, there was a movie. Was it German? It was a European movie, foreign language, and it was based on a settles. God, I should really do a lot of notes. Here's the thing: I like to do things off the cuff. I'm terrible at sitting and reading off a script. I have a few notes just to keep myself right, but if you're expecting one of these people that just sits and blah 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 blah, nah, that's not me. Now, I might do audio reviews with a bit of graphics and stuff to do a bit more of that, but it's not my style. Don't like it. Fair play to anybody who can do that, but yeah, there's these two forensic scientists. They're forensic cleaners, and they come across this mythical creature. Really strange one. God, it was years ago I saw it. Worth looking at, but anyway, I'm going on the tangent again. Back to these guys. So you've got Allison. He's got his wife and his son and daughter. They all move into the house now. What it's kind of showing is the drasticness. Like I said, there's nothing in reality. I know it needs to happen for the movie, but in reality, there's no reason for this to happen. Like, why do you have to move your family about every time you're writing a book? Like, that's just lunacy. Uprooting your entire family just to get a bit of research material. Plus, he's coming across the same as method actors. Those people have to live the part and can't just turn up and be professional and do a good job. They have to jump into the character for the time they're making the movie, and it's a bit sad. It's almost like they're more worried about projecting their character and their persona than an actual good product. And this might feed into why he had that one success. It might have been accidental, and the rest of his stuff's subpar, and he kind of knows it in the back of his head, but he's going to these extremes to get there. Now, as a character, I don't like him. He's a really unlikable character, and seeing Ethan Hawke's other performances, I know it's not him as the actor, he's portraying the character as put forward, so you essentially have no sympathy for Allison. He's actually a bit of an idiot, to be honest. That's the politest way to describe him. He is a bit of a moron. How he's managed to keep his wife and his family and stuff together, if that's the way he is, and he's so narcissistic, is beyond all. But here we have him. He turns up at the house, brings the family. Now, the family don't know at this point what's happening, and then this is where the plot kind of takes place. He's searching around the house. Once again, it's already been cleared out by police and forensics and done an investigation. I don't know what he's hoping to find, but sure enough, goes in the attic, he finds a set of film canisters, like old Super 8 type footage, and projector and reels and all that kind of stuff, and they're each labelled home movies, and everyone has a different title to it. Really innocent looking titles. You've Pool Party 66. You've all different ones. So it turns out he finds this. I think he finds a scorpion or something. He's there's an animal, scorpion that jumps at him up in the loft, and then he finds this. So he starts to watch these movies, and this is basically what happens. He's doing his research, and his research basically turns into him sitting in his office drinking and watching this footage. Now they drag this out for the whole. This is the movie's very dragged out. That's where I have a problem with it. Kind of focuses on him sitting. Now these movies are just short, like they're off the murders basically, of various murders that have happened. So like pool party, you see people tied to deck chairs and flipping rope pulls them into the pool and drowns them. We don't see who it is behind the camera, and that's kind of the mystery, if that makes sense. But didn't get it. Wasn't feeling it because to me it felt a lot dragged out. I was getting the kind of Shining vibe, if that makes sense. Jack's by God, what do you call him? Torrance. Yeah, well, it was Jack. I was going to say it's not Jack Nicholson, but it was Jack Torrance. For sake. Yeah, Jack's been a naughty boy and all that kind of stuff, and so it's kind of getting a bit of a rip off of that vibe that he's losing his mind. Yeah, so he watches these videos, but for some reason it takes the entire movie. Like, you do it at night, they're only short. When it comes down to it, it's not like it's super detailed or long things. So why he has to move his entire family there, and the whole idea is that they're living, trying to. This is supposed to go over a extended period of time. Yeah, the whole time thing was getting to me because I don't understand why they had to move there and spend so much time. He could have easily went to the house himself for a weekend, rented it out for a weekend. It was for sale. He didn't have to buy the house. Like, that was another extreme thing as well. Like, buying the house, moving the family there, to write his book. Just that whole side of the plot just didn't sit well with me. I can actually understand the village's reaction because it seemed to be a small town, everybody knew each other, crime doesn't happen, you know what I mean, just like a few drunken scuffles, that sort of thing. The message, it's the sort of place where police don't have too much to do, which here we all wouldn't mind that, bit of a quiet life. So they're kind of disgusted that they know who he is, and he comes in, and yeah, eventually this all comes out in the wash, because the kids go to school, the other kids like pick on them, say you're ghouls, you're this, you're that. The wife finds out, a big argument, but meanwhile he's sitting getting hammered every night, he's not even having a beer, it's like he's supping a bottle of whiskey almost every night, watching the same things over and over again. Like, for the point of the movie is it's all dragged out, has the proper glasses to see every one of the movies, each one shows a different murder, and this is kind of like Saw type stuff, yeah, that's the only thing this franchise has got going. Is that the inventive kills is going to go the same as the Hostel, Saw, Final Destination, all them kind of ones where they've basically nothing in terms of plot, but gruesome kills and more inventive ones, and that's kind of it. But eventually he's doing research, he's talking to professors, all that kind of stuff. Really choppy. The way they have the Zoom calls and the meetings and stuff, it's all that's kind of choppy. They spend most of the time him sitting doing jump scares. Some of the graphics in this, oh my word, the actual graphics for do a lot of jump scares, ghosts appearing and stuff. Yeah, it was almost laughable. It was hard to take seriously. But cut to the chase, it all comes down, it's this pagan god that's supposed to be behind us, and it's almost like offerings, these videos are offerings, and he gets into people's minds, all that kind of stuff, yada yada yada. Bagul, never even heard of it, it's obviously made up one. Never heard of it. It's supposed to be Nordic sort of demon entity. I didn't really care, if I'm honest. When it comes to this, I didn't feel any great revolution. I knew it was going to be something, and to be honest, it was so loosely and badly described that I was just like, oh, okay, that's Bagul then. Okay, fine, that's a big bad behind us. He gets involved with a deputy, which is another weird relationship because the deputy says he's a fan, knows his work, and then Alison basically treats him like shit, which How do you get people to, if you treat people like crap and you're very dismissive of somebody who's offering their time and resources to help you out, how the hell do you expect them to like stay with you or continue to help? So it's a weird relationship in my mind. Why do that? Like, I don't get that whole treating people like so. It's supposed to be this whole thing of fame that you get to a certain level. It's a very American thing. Maybe that's why me as a Brit doesn't get it. But this whole you get to a certain level so you can have people basically bend over for you, and bow down before your every move. It's very, very strange. That kind of mentality, and you kind of see it with creatives and anyone that gets a bit of fame or gets up a ladder a bit. All of a sudden their nose disappears up the air and they think look down at everybody, which once again I don't get. It's just, it puts me, it turns me off. If you want me to invest in a character and the tragedy of what they're up against, or to feel any sort of compassion towards them, then at least give them redeeming qualities. This guy had none. He wasn't a likable person. He was up his own arse. He was chasing fame, and he's very weak-minded. So he's going through this. He's supposed to have done, true crime investigations. That yet he seems to fall apart. Now they tried to hint at some sort of backstory why, but to be honest, I just glazed over when they were going through it. Apparently something happened with his main book, and he got a bit went over the edge with it. But to be honest, it was so badly done, I didn't care what it was about. You had the fake fight with him and the wife, all that kind of stuff, but you just didn't feel it. You didn't feel any emotion with the family. They were just like pawns to him, or tools, or just something he felt he had to do, and that's never good. When you don't feel any chemistry with the husband and wife and stuff, and the kids, it's but weird. But anyway, it all turns out they're carrying this stuff, carrying out the investigations and stuff, lots of jump scares and woos and wahs, and honestly, you're just getting would you get to that bloody point? No Lem movies where you're just like, you almost want to fast forward just to get to the end to see what happens, because it's just just tedious. Maybe if you don't watch horror movies a lot, this is dead on. But if you watch a lot of horror movies, then a bit of a snore fest. You're just going through the motions, which, yeah, whatever. I just I do struggle. But the deputy, despite Ellison treating him like absolute crap, he goes and does a lot of research. What I find strange as well is he sees the pattern. What happens, I'm trying not to give too many spoilers, if you want to go check it out for yourself, but he sees the pattern and he just tells Ellison and doesn't report it up a chain. So he does all this research, he's a police officer, and he doesn't feel like actually telling his bosses that there's potentially, especially when they're looking at this, that there's a connection between the serial killers. It's a serial killer, in real terms, not supernatural terms, and something could happen. Nah, just rings it. It's a jump scare. Oh, here's what's going to happen. Your life's in danger. Turns out that if you're in the house, stuff happens to you. Then you move house. That's when you get into bother. And yeah, I was more interested just to see how it played out rather than actually having any investment. Really was a tricky one. So turns out, yep, goes the move out of the house, like they sell up a house really quickly. Like, for a start, if you're buying property, you're always at a loss unless you're going to stay there for a while. So that whole fantasy of, I'm just going to buy a house and move, going to buy another house and move, like they've just had an argument about uprooting the family, but he gets, he puts his family in danger. Like, if you're investigating that and you're looking for other things, you don't bring your family into it. Just, I find that a bit weird. Anyway, like I said, that was my major issue with this whole thing. Just this guy so narcissistic and chasing fame, and his family just get dragged along with him, and there's no need. He could have moved for a couple of weeks. But then again, the plot it's a bit overconvoluted. Let's just put it like that. Plot's a bit overconvoluted for what happens, but the move and then the whole thing comes into, fruition. The Bagul carries out his what do you call it? Enacts his ritual, so to speak. We see it happen to the next family, and it's like, yeah. I'm kind of struggling how to put this. Like I said, I don't want to give away spoilers and stuff, and ruin the movie if you want to watch it and make your own opinion. But essentially, what comes to be affects their family. We kind of see it play out, and yeah, that's it. Kind of ends there. What I was surprised, actually, that's the kind of end of that movie. Wasn't impressed by it. Like I said, I think it was overcomplicated for what it needed to be. Now, apparently Derrickson was he was kind of inspired by The Ring, which I can kind of see through. Instead of using videos, he uses reel, uses film reel and projector instead of videotape. But he's tried to make something super complicated here and tried to give it depth, but in the end, didn't really play off. They spent too much time with Allison sort of losing his mind, if that makes sense, where they could have delved into the sort of lore and investigation behind it, and it could have played out with him going to the place, staying for a while and moving back home. It would have could have actually played out a bit better, I think, than the way they did it. But that was it. That was Sinister. All in all, it's okay to maybe have playing in the background, or like if you're bored one night to watch, but I wouldn't get invested in this. And like I said, I'm so glad that I didn't see this before the Black Phone. I wouldn't have watched it, especially when I had Ethan Hawke as well, because he does not play. He plays it well, but he doesn't play a good character in this. When you're not invested in the main character or the side characters, it's kind of difficult. There's only 2 films in this series, so the second one picks up actually the deputy being the lead character in this. He's left the force and he's now a private investigator. It's kind of a rinse and repeat, to be honest. The deputy's taking over Allison's character and he kind of goes through the same stuff, but what we have is the twist is another family, but it's mother and 2 brothers, 2 sons, and she's run away from her ex, who's a bit of a nut job. I know one of these people that's well connected, owns a town. Bit of a cardboard cutout villain, you know what I mean? He may as well have had a twirling moustache, the way they kind of painted him out. So once again, the deputy's character, I wasn't fussed with the deputy's character in the first movie either, because the way he lets Allison treat him, and then he's the hero in this, but he doesn't have the hero personality. But he's carrying on the investigation, because remember, he's the one who made the revelations in the first one. Once again, I'm trying to avoid spoilers here, but you can't when you're reviewing a movie. That's just the way of it. There's a whole back and forward. They're in a new house, it's a new ritual. It turns out this is happening all over the place, and it originated in Norway. Apparently this Bagul character, I never even bothered looking up because I didn't care. I just didn't feel the character, you know what I mean, if I'm honest. So didn't feel like looking it up. Can if you want. I don't know if it's fictional or based on some sort of reality. Like when we watched Men, it was kind of based on the Green Man. There's a bit of substance there, although not exactly, which is fair enough for maybe you take liberties. And basically it's a rinse and repeat. Just goes through. We'll see more interaction with the ghosts that were in the first one. So they're talking and that, where the first one we didn't see much. This we do. And the actual mystery of the first one stripped away even more. You know what I mean? The only thing we don't see is more of Bagul, as in explaining its backstory. It's more told through the ghost kids that are in this. Same again, it's slightly different ending from the first one, but the way it ends is they're setting it up for a third movie. And to be honest, this franchise will just be rinse and repeat. If they bring out a third one, I very much doubt anyone's going to watch it. If you've watched the first two, you know where it's going, and there's no way they can kind of twist or turn or add more to the lore. These first two movies, they may as well be one movie. In fact, if they had done that, like condense these two movies into one, they might have told a better story. The first one really let it down with just spending too much time with the author losing his mind, so to speak, and that's basically it. I don't know really what else to say about the thing. I wasn't happy with the effects. I mean, the sort of CGI ghost effects and the jump scares weren't that well done. You can tell Derrickson's really improved his craft anyway, because like I said, when I watched The Black Phone, absolutely loved it. And in fact, for one of the rare occasions, Cameron and I actually agreed in the movie, which was hilarious. Us two actually going, yeah, I really like this. Normally one of us likes one and the other doesn't, and that's where the kind of back and forth comes in. But it was actually a genuinely good movie. So you can see Derrickson's kind of learned a lesson from these two and moved on. I'll have to look up some more of his work, and I may have seen some stuff, I may not. It's only recently I've like I said, but the purpose of doing reviews, they've gone into the directors and stuff and like looking at their back catalogue. I tend not to look at actors because they're annoying. Best way to ruin a movie is to learn about the actor, because usually they turn out to be a tit, especially in social media now. The best thing's just not to have anything to do with them. Pretend they're just the character and learn nothing about them in real life, because you never want to watch movies again. But that's essentially it. That's the review, short and sweet. I didn't want to go too deep or give away spoilers or go blow by blow. I want this to be slightly different from the other segments, because I want to do more of them. I want to do there's tons of movies over the years that we're not going to cover in the normal segment, so maybe midweek during the weekend I'll pop these up randomly. I might do them all live, might do pre-recorded, see how the mood takes me. What would you guys like? Give us a bit of an idea of what you would enjoy, what sort of format you prefer. I know internationally, this is just going after 10:30 at night here, so it's quite late over here in the UK. I know we've got an audience from all over the world, but what kind of time suits? I kind of like this time of night here because it's not too late. It's quiet. During the day it's very noisy and stuff, and at the moment we're going through a heat wave. Oh, an emergency apparently, because you can't even have a sunny day now without the media freaking making everything into some sort of disaster. Man, what times living? We're almost living in a horror movie, and these are like sweet release, because these are just demons and ghouls and murders, and instead of just always talking about it, at least you get to see it happen and finally get over and done with. It's like, yeah, okay, good. But I digress. Yeah, please, if you enjoy us, give us a wee like, subscribe to the channel, keep up to date with our releases. Please leave a comment. What you thought about these movies. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Am I being too harsh on it? Should I maybe chill out a bit, or do you think that I'm pretty on the ball of how I feel about the movie? Do you want me to give spoilers with these reviews? So just put spoiler review and go right into the whole plot, or do you want me to kind of step back and not do it, or do like a half and half? I don't know. Like I said, it's a new segment. Want to kind of play about with it, see where we'll go and get a format. The whole idea is obviously to just go through, I've lost count of the number of movies I've seen over the years. I've forgotten more than what I've cared to think. So I want to cover those. I want to revisit some, not necessarily classics of 30 years plus, because that's what we do in the talk spot, but maybe ones over the last couple of years. It's impossible for one person to watch every movie out there, so there'll always be movies I'll have watched you may not have seen, and vice versa. If you have an idea what movie you want me to talk about, drop it in the comments as well. Certainly I'll go and have a nosy at it and let you know what I think. I may not be the only person doing these reviews as well. Might get Cameron to do a couple, might get Adam to jump in. Like I said, it's going to be fast and loose. It's just basically a sort of catch-all segment, and just keep it kind of loose and don't tie it down to anything, so we can cover more material. But Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.